You can be all big and muscle bound and still not have no force behind your punch. Force, energy in motion. You can't have energy sitting. Energy is measured by motion. Sit down and shut up and feel sorry for yourself. I feel a determination in here this morning. I feel a fight in here this morning. Don't you get 40 and get tired. Don't you get 50 and get tired. Don't you get 60 and get tired. I'm not talking about a bad man. I'm talking about a good man. Don't you sit there and say, oh, that won't happen to me because I'm good. No, it's going to happen to you because you're good. The reason the deal went down is because God ordered you to go up the steps. He didn't intend for you to go up the elevator. You got there too fast, you wasn't going to be ready for it. He slowed down your process. He let the deal go down. When it's time, it's going to happen. When it's time, you're coming out of trouble. When it's time, can't no grave hold your body down.
Faith is the substance of things hoped for and the evidence of things not seen. Your imagination is the evidence of things not seen. Because your imagination, you are the only one who can see it. Your imagination is God showing you coming attraction He has for you. Your imagination ain't no hocus pocus. This ain't just you coming up with these wild and random thoughts. God shows you something He has for you. The problem with your imagination is you tell it to the wrong people.
Some people call fear false evidence or expectations appearing real. A guy living in an area where he had some new neighbors, and these neighbors had a bulldog. This bulldog used to chase him about a half a block from his house every day. He would just run. This bulldog would be right on his heels. He just got tired of that. He would go walking casually along, and this bulldog come out of nowhere. Woo! He'd run home. So this one day, he just got tired. The bulldog was running after him. He started running. He saw a rock, and he stopped to pick it up to throw at the bulldog. And he started barking. He realized the bulldog didn't have any teeth in his mouth. And so, you know what? Most people go through life running scared from things that have no teeth in them because they're false expectations appearing real.
What if I never get married? What if you do? How much time are you wasting worrying? What if this pain in my side is something serious? Go to the doctor, get checked out, but don't spend 3 years worried, then find out it was nothing. Jesus put it this way: don't worry about tomorrow, for tomorrow will have enough worries of its own. God has given you grace for today. You don't have grace for tomorrow. Don't try to figure out the next 5 years, play out all the what-ifs. The what-ifs will depress you. The truth is, if a what-if does come to pass, God will give you the grace to handle it. What if the report's not good? What if my loved one doesn't make it? What if I do get laid off, Joel? Then the peace that passes understanding will be right there waiting for you. God promises He will arm you with strength for every battle. We may not know what the future holds, but we do know who holds the future. Now, don't miss today worried about tomorrow. Today is a gift. We can never get this day back. I believe, like with me, many of the things you're worried about are not going to happen. If they do, it's not going to be as difficult as you think. You don't have the grace for it today. And sure, we should plan, we should use common sense, but at some point, you have to turn it over to God and say, God, you know what's best for me. You said you'd give me grace for every season. Just like you clothe the lily of the fields, just like you feed the birds of the air, I know you will take care of me. It's very freeing when you learn to turn things over to God. You're not supposed to go through life weighted down by worry, stress, anxiety. Start lightening your load. Go back to the still waters. Empty all that out. Really, it's important every morning. You should start the day off in peace, not stressed, hurried, rushing around. Look at the sunrise. Listen to the birds singing. Breathe in God's goodness. Thank Him for His blessings in your life. Hebrews talks about entering into the rest of God. That means you have a problem, but you're not losing sleep over it. You know God is still in control. This is one of the main ways we show God we're trusting Him, by staying in peace. Not up when your circumstances are up, down when they're down. You're stable, you're consistent, you're in the rest of God. 2002, the Houston City Council members voted for us to have this facility. It was a 2-year battle. We'd worked hard, convinced different council members, and God caused everything to fall into place. The vote was on a Wednesday morning. That evening, we had a great celebration at the church. The next morning, Victoria and I and our 2 small children went out of town to take a few days off. We were on cloud 9. We couldn't believe that it happened. Got to the hotel and started unpacking our bags, and my brother-in-law Kevin called. He's our administrator. He said, Joel, a large company just filed a federal lawsuit to try to keep us from moving into the Compact Center. They said we violate the deed restrictions. I asked him what that meant, and he said it means that we can't move into the property because it's tied up in the legal system, and the attorneys say it can take up to 10 years to resolve, and there's no guarantee that we could win. I hung up the phone, and Victoria overheard the conversation. She stopped unpacking and said, Joel, what are you going to do? I said, I'm going to go down to the beach. She said, what are you going to do there? And I said, I'm going to swim. She said, aren't you worried? Aren't you stressed? Aren't you upset? I said, no, Victoria, we've done what we can do. Now it's in God's hands. And I told her, I'm not going to worry about something that I can't change. I learned my lesson. I'm not putting up another worry tree. I'm going to stay at rest and trust God to fight my battle. Are you losing sleep over something you can't do anything about? As long as you're honoring God, being your best, then you can rest. You may be facing an illness. You can't make yourself get well. Of course, do what you can. Use common sense. But at some point, you have to turn it over to God and say, Lord, I trust you to bring the healing. But in the meantime, I'm going to enjoy my life. Worrying doesn't help you to heal. Living stressed, uptight, studies show that weakens the immune system. Come back to a place of peace. Or you may have people in your life that are not making good decisions. You can't make people do what's right. Don't let their poor choices sour your life. You have to protect your peace. Don't go the next 20 years all worried about somebody else. Turn them over to God. If you'll get off the throne, so to speak, and stay at rest, then God will get on the throne and do what you can't do. In His own way, His own timing, He'll make things happen. But really, if God is not changing them yet, what makes us think we can change them in our own strength? And sure, we should be good examples. We should pray. But what I'm saying is you shouldn't live stressed out over somebody else's poor choices. You have a destiny to fulfill. You need your energy, your wisdom, your creativity to become all God's created you to be. Are you trying to change things that only God can change? Your load will get a whole lot lighter if you'll turn it over to Him and enter into His rest. Acts chapter 12, King Herod had Peter arrested and put in prison. He didn't like the fact that Peter was a follower of Christ. Peter was in the dungeon, chained between 2 soldiers. The next morning, he was going to be brought to trial. Herod had already killed James. It looks like Peter would be next. You can imagine what Peter must have been thinking. But that night, an angel appeared in the prison. He went to wake Peter up, but Peter was sleeping so soundly, the scripture says the angel had to shake Peter to awaken him. Now, if you knew the next day your life may come to an end, you were in great danger, would you be sleeping soundly? Or would you be pacing the floor, stressed out, God, please help me. God, please don't let them kill me.
Why are you happy with that part of your life right now? Even if you're not happy with everything, what's the area you're happy with and why? Put me on hold right now, or if you're not going to do that, just think for a moment. Why? Specifically, be real. Why? Now, when I ask this, if you turn me back on now, if I ask this of an audience, I'll have people write this down for a few minutes, and I'll call on people, and I'll say, share with the person next to you first. What are you happy about, and why are you happy in that area? And be specific. And after they share, I'll have people stand up, I'll call on a variety of people, and I say, ma'am, tell me, what are you happy about? And she'll say, well, honestly, I'm really happy with my body. She goes, I never thought I'd say that, but I used to be so unhappy with it, and you know, I did some things, I pushed myself through, and now I exercise regularly, and you know, I'm not perfect, but I feel fit, I feel strong, I feel energetic, and that's really, I don't know, it just feels good to me. Now, I say to everybody, I'm now going to show you what the formula for happiness is, and it's real simple. I want to reveal it to you so you don't ever forget it. Whenever you're happy with an area of your life, it's because right now, your current life experience, I call it your LC, your life conditions, the conditions of your life conditions in that area match or are equal to your blueprint, your story, your belief about how life should be in that area. So this woman says to me, I'm really happy with my body because it's not perfect. Her blueprint is I don't need to be perfect, but it's so much better than it was. I'm fit and I'm strong and I have this energy. Her mental blueprint says I should be fit, strong, and have energy. I don't need to be perfect, but I should be that way. Well, when my life, my body matches how I think it should be, I feel good about my life. I'll ask somebody else. I'll say, tell me an area you're happy with. Someone else will say, well, I'm really happy with my career. And why? Well, I'm doing better than I even thought I would be. I mean, I'm ahead of the schedule of where I hoped I'd be at this stage. I'm working at this level in this company, and I have these skills and this ability, and it's even better than I thought. Well, once again, listen, this person's happy with this area of their life because their current life conditions in the area called their career are even better than they expected they would be, better than their blueprint, better than their belief of how it should be. If it's really better, you tend to be over the moon. One woman would say, I gotta tell you, I said, I'm the happiest I've ever been in my whole life. How come? She goes, because I have this man in my life and I'm in love with him and he loves me and I can be myself with him. And we have this incredible intimacy and this passion and we want to be with each other all the time. And I never get bored with him. You want to be with somebody that you can have total intimacy with, somebody who you love and loves you. Those are part of her rules, her beliefs of how it should be. She said, it needs to be, I never want to be with anybody else. I want to be with them every moment. Her blueprint about how life should be and the way she lives, her relationship's even better than she hoped. When it's better than you hope, you're going to be totally excited. So think about this then. What's an area you're not happy with? Let's see if we can find the formula for unhappiness. If the formula for happiness is to be able to meet your expectations or exceed them, that really makes you excited. But to be happy, you got to at least meet it. It doesn't have to be perfect. But if you generally are meeting what you expect you want from your life in that area, you feel good. Life conditions match blueprint, feel good. So what makes you feel bad? What creates pain, stress, frustration? Real easy way to figure it out. Answer this question. What's an area of your life you're not happy with? I mean, be honest with yourself. And even if your life is great in all kinds of ways, I'm sure there's an area you'd like to improve. Anybody who's honest, if they're doing great in their career, very often they don't take care of their body so much. If they're really focused on their body, very often they find themselves in a position where they're not spending enough time with their kids. Or if they're spending time with their kids, their intimate relationship's not doing so well. Because it's the nature of human beings to focus on areas they feel comfortable with and strong in and give those time.
What are the elements of turning nothing into something? Only humans can do this. Here they are. Number one, imagination. Imagine the possibilities. It's hard to say imagination is not something. It's just that it's not tangible. Imagination is not. It's not a table, but it is powerful. Imagination. For that long journey, saved my life. Believe that it's possible for you. A little phrase says, with faith, all things are possible. Without faith, nothing's possible. If there's one thing to pray for, that's probably it. Faith to believe. One, to imagine. Number two, faith to believe. What would make us believe? Testimonials? Someone finishes a dramatic testimonial. Here's where I started, when I was 18 years old. Here's where I am today. And then they finish by saying, hey, if I can do it, you can do it. Come on, right? I started just like you. I read the first book. I went to the first class. I made the first decision to start the process of change. That's how we get inspired. 1, to imagine. 2, to believe. Then here's number 3. Go to work and make it real. How to turn nothing into something. That's how this complex of buildings got here. Someone saw them when the property was vacant. You say, well, how can you see something that isn't there? Well, if someone can't see it when it isn't here, it will never be here. And some people can see it so clearly, they could give you the artist's rendering and say to you, this is the building. You say, no, it doesn't exist. Say, yes, it really does. In thought, in mind, in imagination. Then to believe that it's possible for you. Then simply go to work. That kind of teaching, that kind of training, right? The management of your time, the management of your money. I've been teaching now all these years the 70, 10, 10, and 10 on the management of your money. A lady not long ago told me she was in real estate. I said, how many properties do you own? She said, no, Mr. Owen, I sell real estate. I said, let me ask the question one more time. How many properties do you own? She said, not any. So here's what I said. If you sell real estate, you make a living. If you buy real estate, you make a fortune. Let me tell you one of the incredible real estate stories. 13 years ago, Ron Wagenhals up in Carmel, California, said, Mr. Owen, I have this neat little condo downtown Carmel where I know you want to live. I said, yes, I do. And he said, it's really small, but it's right there downtown, 1 bedroom. And he said, I want $80,000 for it. I said, nobody's gonna pay $80,000. I mean, this is a real tiny place.
There was one line in there that hit me and it stuck. And the one line was, like the dude that came to see him on the horse. Like, I don't know if y'all remember the movie, but he was riding with him. Like, he was riding with him at every single battle. Like, it was a point in every single battle when it got tough, and Leonidas with his 300, when it got a little tough, he would call on the Arcadians, and they'll come from between the rocks, they'll come out with their crew, and they'll wipe out whoever they was going against, and they'll handle it, right? And so at a certain point, my man saw up on the hill, he saw a little humpback dude, and he saw some more soldiers, more than they had ever saw. And so he came to him, but he was riding with him at every single battle, but he came to him when he saw more than he had ever saw, and he said to him, it's over. They told him they'll give him everything he was fighting for. They came to him at one point, they came to United, they said, we'll give you everything you want. Like, you fighting for your land, you can have your land. You want water, like you can have your water. Everything you fighting for, we'll give it to you and we'll make you king. You'll reign supreme over everything and everybody got to report to you. They told him that, but they said one word, and when they said the one word, he'll walk off and he'll shake his head. And the one word that they said was submit. Every time they mentioned submission, it was like he just went into another mode and he wasn't trying to hear him. So when my man came to him on the horse, he said, we got to submit. When he said we got to submit, you saw his eyes got big and he transformed into something else. He went to him, the thing that stuck to me, Duke, he told him, every man must search his own soul. And he said, while you at it, like you've been battling with me, you've been going with me, but when the adversity and the opposition and the challenge got tough, you said, you got to go. Like, we dead, so while you at it, you search your own soul and you run off and you tell everybody, we gonna stand and we gonna live and we gonna die by what we stand for, and everybody gonna know what we represent and what we're a part of. Because we said, at a certain point, we said we was gonna live and we gonna die by it. And the thing I love about sports and the thing I love about life, whatever you want, you gotta be willing to accept whatever come with it. Like, it's like a cat in the street. If you wanna be a gangster, you can't be a gangster until you meet a gangster. Like, you can't be a warrior until you meet a warrior. You say, no, I don't want to be a warrior no more. Like, you got to be willing to accept whatever come with it. And he was talking about 11, 15 meetings, and I was talking to Rob in the car, and I said, man, the dangerous thing about having talent, like when you're in the league, everybody can run fast, jump high, hit cats. Everybody can cut it and slice it however you want to cut it and slice it. Everybody can play ball, right? But the thing about it, I told Rob, you got to be careful when you got talent, because sooner or later, if you're not careful, you could become a victim of your own talent. And when you become a victim of your own talent, you don't value the small things anymore. And at a certain point in the early years, the small things were the foundation. And this is the thing that got you to the point that you are at now. But now we don't value it because we feel as if we've gotten to a certain point. Like, adversity is adversity. Opposition is opposition. Challenges are challenges. But it's not so much about the opposition and the adversity that we face as it is about the perspective that we have about the opposition and the adversity that we face. Meaning perspective drives performance every day of the week. How you view what you do will always affect how you do what you do. Like, I love 300 just because when they said retreat, my man, like, we ain't going nowhere. You came to me, you disrespected my wife, you disrespected, like he could have quit, he could have stopped fighting for it. But the purpose for what he was fighting for was greater than any individual, and so he went to war, the purpose. Meaning the thing of what he was fighting for was greater than any individual, was greater than any 300. And when he died, I'll never forget, one of the soldiers laid down, he said, man, it was an honor to die by you.
Transformation doesn't come because you show up here for an hour and 20 minutes. You'll be transformed by the renewing of your mind. But this word renewing is the same word as renovating. How many of you know you can't renovate a house in an hour and 15 minutes? If you're gonna renovate a house, you gotta kick some walls down. You gotta pull some tiles up. You gotta get into the mess of it. And that's what we gotta do in our brain.
You have to decide that you're going to be in control and that you are going to do what you want to do. You are the machine and you can control the machine. Weakness doesn't get a vote. Sadness, no vote. Frustration, no vote. I don't even give my temper a vote. The next time that you're feeling weak or you're feeling lazy or you're feeling emotional, tell them you are declaring martial law on your mind. You're declaring mind control and impose what you want on your brain and use that mind control to move your life where you want it to be.
It's not about clearing out your closet. It's about the transformation of your mind.
Do not be conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your minds.
Do you have a mind to change? Do you have the mindset to be blessed? You have to decide to be blessed. You got till midnight to get rid of every poison that's hindering you, every inflexibility that's stopping you from what God is about to pour into your life. Woe be unto you if you go into another year and waste another year with the old mentality while somebody's in the hospital begging God for the opportunity that you have right now. You better step into this moment. As soon as you decide to stop looking for answers in other people and click the heels of your mind and set your affections on things that are above, you could have been free years ago.
Do not be conformed to the patterns of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind.
We've got a chance to grow like never before, but I'm telling you, there's going to be many enemies that's going to try to prevent us. Whatever threatens you, I'm asking you to threaten it back. Take care of your responsibility. Somebody wants to destroy your chances for a good future by their negative talk, negative thinking, putting it all down. I'm telling you, walk away if you have to. Walk away. Whatever threatens you, threaten it back. Whatever threatens your opportunity, threaten it back. Now, some of our enemies are on the outside. But here's the most important thing to understand. Some of our enemies are on the inside. You got to do battle with your own indifference. And you've got to learn not only to nourish your values, you've got to learn to do battle with your enemies.
A whole set of circumstances can bend you over. What your daddy did to you, what your mama didn't do for you, can bend you over and keep you an emotional cripple for a long time. There's some people here who are still spinning from things that's happened years ago, and you can't shake it. It's got you crippled and you can't straighten up. Every time you straighten up, you can only go so far. Because it's not only a problem of health, it's a problem of habit. You're used to being bent over. Because you can be bent over so long, you don't even know how to straighten up. And things aren't straightening out. They aren't getting better. You remain crippled in your situation.
Sometimes you got to talk to yourself. Sometimes you got to say to yourself, now you know better than that. Sometimes you got to talk to yourself. When you see somebody you don't like, or somebody who gets on your nerves, you got to talk to yourself. You got to talk yourself into some stuff. And then you got to talk yourself. You got to tell yourself, don't do it. Don't go that way. Danger, dangerous intersection.
You have to be able to talk yourself out of some stuff, because a whole lot of stuff I would not have gotten into had I talked to myself.
I'm asking you to have some faith, have some courage, believe, drive your doubts into a small corner. Don't let them loose like a mad dog, drive you into a small corner. Don't doubt the future, don't doubt the possibilities, and here's the most important one of all, don't doubt yourself. If I've got miracle working power to change my life, so do you. If I can grow, you can grow. I'm asking you, don't sell yourself short.
But I wonder, have you taken the time to think about, why am I doing this in the first place? Am I trying to prove something to someone who disrespected me 10 years ago, who isn't even paying attention to my life anymore? Why am I posting this? To impress people who follow me on social media that don't even really know me? What is my reason for doing what I'm doing?
No matter what happens to you, it ain't over. As long as God wakes you up, that means he ain't through with you yet. And if he wakes you up, you got a shot to correct it and get it right. And he kept waking me up. So I figured, okay, God wakes you up. That also means that he has something for you that you've yet to receive.
You could take my car, I could get another one. You could take my house, I could get another house. But when you take my time, you have taken something from me that is totally irreplaceable.
Even if you are 40 or 50 or 60 or 70, doesn't matter. You're in the game now, and that's what counts. And all those quote unquote wasted years, they weren't wasted, because you learned. Learned about what it's like to be weak, and the knowledge that you learned about those things is fuel to make sure that it never happens again. Because you know what is out there, and you know how bad it can get. I say you embrace what you learned from the weekdays. Let them make you even stronger, and you use your own personal transformation that you've made in life. Use that to help other people transform and get on the path as well.
If you know what it is to have the kind of pain that feels as if you cannot be comforted, if you know what it is to be at the end of your rope and feel like your life is over and you've got questions that cannot be answered and you're confused and you're uncertain, you need to learn this verse. They that sow in tears shall reap in joy. I will never forget there's been many opportunities in my life that I have grappled with grief and pain so unbearable and so overwhelming that I thought that I would never smile again. I've seen days that were so dark for me that I thought there could not possibly be a silver lining in the clouds that hung over my head. I've seen days and weeks and months that drug me so low that I gave up all hope of getting up again. But in the midst of all of that despair and that trouble and that trauma and that pain, there was in the basement of my soul this one word, when.
When should you start the day? As soon as you have it finished. Plan the day the best you can, leaving plenty of room for improvising and surprises and all the stuff that happens during the course of the day. But if you've planned a good, productive day, now you start that day, you can't believe how much more valuable your time will be. Next, don't start the month until you have it finished. The places to go and the people to see and the productivity and the sales and the customers and the development and all the rest of what you want to accomplish during the course of 30 days. And then here's the big one. This is really challenging. Don't start the year until you have it finished to the best of your ability. It can't be finished like minute by minute. But in terms of the sweep of what you want to accomplish, make sure that that's set and ready to go. And it might get all upset. It might get torn up and you do a new one. You make so much progress the first 90 days that now you've multiplied it all by 2, by 3. Because that happened to me. I thought, wow, this is going to be a great year. By the time I'd finished the 3rd month, I'm rolling. So many things are happening. I revised my whole year's plan. Don't let anything overly bug you. Because remember now, you don't have to do anything. Someone says, well, I got to get a handle on my time. The answer is no, you don't. If you want to let it all go, you can let it all go. Somebody says you ought, you ought, you ought. Jot this down. Ignore all the you oughts or you should. Take charge of your life. Take charge of your time. Take charge of your resources, which we're going to talk about next. Take charge of your health. You're the one that's responsible for it. It's not a requirement of society that you not have a heart attack and take care of your family, but you must make it a requirement of yourself.
You will be okay. There's nothing has been wasted. Like I say, successful people don't make the right decisions, they make their decisions right. And you have an opportunity right now to make things right inside and out. When you say you're depressed, you've got to understand that depression is the opposite of expression. So what you're literally doing is stuffing down and depressing something that wants to come up and rise out. I wouldn't be surprised if you had like jaw, ear, or neck pain having to do with expressing yourself, speaking your truth. So yeah, you're depressing yourself. Stop it. Speak up, speak your truth. Now, right, once you get that off your chest, now it's time to turn the flashlight in and discover what your truth is.
We are living in a generation of the dumbing down of ideas because we have traded effectiveness for busyness. We are so busy and we think because we're busy, we're effective. But I want you to challenge your schedule for a minute and ask yourself, are you really being effective? Or is your life cluttered with all kinds of stuff that demands you and drains you and stops you from being your highest and best self? And are you substituting busyness and all the chaos that goes along with busyness from being effective?
It's easy to get faked out by being busy. Guy comes home at night all exhausted, falls in the chair and says, oh, I've been going. Here's the big question, doing what? It's not the going. Some people are going, and they're doing figure eights. So don't mistake movement for achievement.
There's a lot of things you could take from me and I could make it. You could take my suit, I got another one. You could take my car, I could get another one. You could take my house, I could get another house. But when you take my time, you have taken something from me that is totally irreplaceable. We do everything except the most important thing is to value our time. It takes time to be creative. You were meant to be creative. You have creativity. If you had time, you would be creative.
Better have a valued goal, because otherwise you can't get any positive motivation working out. And so the more valuable the goal, in principle, the more the microprocesses associated with that goal start to take on a positive charge. Well, you get up in the morning and you're excited about the day, you're ready to go. What you do is you specify your long-term ideal. You do that in some sense as a unique individual. You want to specify goals that make you say, if that could happen as a consequence of my efforts, it would clearly be worthwhile. The question always is, why do something? Because doing nothing is easy. You just sit there and you don't do anything. That's real easy. And then the next question might be, well, where should you look for worthwhile things? And one would be, well, you could consult your own temperament. So you do a structural analysis of the subcomponents of human existence. And you need a family, you need friends. Like, you don't need to have all these things, but you better have most of them. Family, friends, career, educational goals, attention to your mental and physical health, etc. You know, that's what life is about. And if you don't have any of those things, well, then all you've got left is misery and suffering. So that's a bad deal for you.
Don't mistake courtesy for consent. If somebody's pleasant and they nod, you say, oh, they're going to buy. No, they're courteous. You can't mistake courtesy for consent. Now, here's a big one, concentration. I had to learn this. All those years ago, I'm in the shower trying to compose a letter. Found it turns out to be a strange letter. So here's what I learned to do. Save the work till you get to the office. Save the work till you get to the work. Don't try to get to the office on the way to work. On the way to work, enjoy the way. In the shower, enjoy the shower. Then go to work when you get to work. Concentration. Learn to say no. I'm telling you, in such a social society we have now, it's so easy to try to be a nice person, saying yes, yes, yes to everything. Find yourself overloaded. Now you got to call and make well, gosh, you know, all the time it takes to back out of something that you said yes to too quickly. Here's what might be better. I don't think so, but if that changes, I'll call you. Little things you can use not to overcommit yourself.
But once you set up that goal structure, let's say, and that's really who it is that you're trying to be, you aim at that. And then you use everything you learned as a means of building that person that you want to be. And I really mean want to be. I don't mean should be, even those things are going to overlap. That's fine, except you'll fail all the time then. You just won't know it until you've failed so badly that you're done. And that can easily happen by the time you're 40. I would recommend that you don't let that happen. Okay, so once you get your goal structure set up, you think, okay, if I could have this life, looks like that might be worth living. Anxiety-provoking and threatening, and there's going to be some suffering and loss involved and all of that. The goal is to have a vision for your life such that, all things considered, that justifies your effort. Then you turn down to the micro routines. It's like, okay, well, this is what I'm aiming for. How does that instantiate itself day to day, week to week, month to month? And that's where something like a schedule can be unbelievably useful. It's like, make a damn schedule and stick to it. It's not a bloody prison. Set the damn schedule up so that you have the day you want. That's the trick. It's like, okay, I've got tomorrow. If I was going to set it up so it was the best possible day I could have, what would it look like?
You know what makes the sun so important? It gives us gamma rays, ultraviolet rays, that provide chlorophyll for the plant to give us oxygen. So the sun is very important, it's valuable. In other words, your value is in your function. And that's how it works. If you don't feel valuable, it could be because we don't know why you are here. You know, you here all these years, we didn't know why. You're taking up space. You wondering why we're walking past you, because we don't know why you're here. You can't ignore something if you know its value. And its value is in what? Its function. I mean, when your car's on E, I know you want to drive past that gas station, but that gas station got you. You got to pull into that fuel station. Why? Because it has something you need. The value is based on the purpose of the thing. Why were you born? What is your gift, your management gift? Purpose determines your value.
A lack of self-discipline is a lack of knowing what you want in life. And when you don't know what you want, you won't have any self-discipline power to get there.
And by the way, let me just warn you too. When you start being notarized for your gift, don't take it seriously. Because it ain't you they're interested in. You know, humility is sensibility. You stay humble because you know you don't come to me because you like me. You like what I got, that's all. When you go to a mango tree, you don't go to the leaves, you don't care about the branches, you don't even look at the bark. You go for what? The fruit. See, when you discover your gift, you even ain't got to look for followers. They find you. People bring their monies to you when you find your gift and start delivering it. A man's gift makes room for him. That means it forces space in the universe. They can't ignore you. Study yourself. This thing about business. Business is born when the solution is discovered. Your value comes from that solution. So don't seek business, seek solutions and seek problems, and then you begin to find attraction to your value. Whoever solves problems become wealthy. This is the heart of it. So businesses are all around us. The more problems in the world, the more business that exists. You know, when 9/11 took place some years ago, the airplanes hit that thing. Man, they shut down all the airlines. And boy, my first thought was, I wish I could be the company that invented the machine that you got to stand in and turn around like this. I mean, the fellows who build that machine now, billions of dollars. The little one, beep, 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 beep. Oh Lord, please let me make that one right. 1 trillion of them for $50 each. Problems create business. 90% of success is in your head, between your ears. 10% is in your hands. You don't become successful because you work hard. It's because you work smart. Smart people hire hard-working people. Are we still there? Are we still trying to buy chair, or are we going to make it of the tree? See?
Not neglecting, first of all, the small daily discipline. Self-confidence really comes from feeling good about yourself. And one of the best ways to feel good about yourself is at the end of the day to know that you poured it on. You did your best. If you conducted a meeting, you did the best you could. If you made a phone call, it was the best phone call you could possibly make. If you wrote a letter, it wasn't a casual letter, it was your best letter. At the end of those kind of days, when you feel good about yourself, self-confidence starts to rise. You know that if you can have this kind of a good day, you can have another one the next day, and those days become the weeks become the months, and the month becomes a powerful year. Self-confidence comes from the lack of neglect. If you will not neglect to do the small daily disciplines, that's where self-confidence comes from. Part of good health is self-confidence. I know I'm going to be healthy. I take the Herbalife products. I eat the apple a day. I walk around the block. I do the jogging on the beach. At the end of the day, when you've really poured it on and you've done all the stuff, self-confidence grows. That self-confidence affects your health. It affects your future. It affects your psyche. So this is true. One of the great powers is self-confidence. Self-confidence means willingness to do whatever it takes to achieve. Some people say, well, I'll do it for a little while and see what happens. You know, I'll try a couple of things. If that doesn't work, I'm out of here. And all of us know that that kind of person doesn't have much of a future. But if you're willing to do whatever it takes, if I have to learn a couple of things, I will learn those things. If I got to learn 5 or 6 things, I'll learn all 6. If I have to take an extra class, I'll take an extra class. If I've got to read the books, I'll read the books. If I have to consult with people who know more than I know, I will do the necessary consulting. Whatever it takes, I will do. That starts to develop unbelievable self-confidence. Self-confidence also comes from the ability to rise above your circumstances. To rise above what happens, the petty little things, the discouraging things that would sink everyone else's ship except yours, that would cause someone else to quit early in the day, but you keep going. That kind of willingness to overcome all circumstances, whether it's the little challenges or the big challenges. If you're willing to do that, I promise you, this kind of power will work for you, and in you, the variable, it'll make a difference.
So life is brutal, and what you have to set against that is possibility. And you might say, well, life is so brutal that you have to utilize all the possibility that comes your way. You know, so an opportunity manifests itself and you turn it down. You ignore it, you let it drift away. It's like, that's one thing that you had against the horror of existence that you let go of. You let go of 10 of those things, man, you're on the street.
Right.
And it's no fun there. And it doesn't get better. And so there is a possibility that if you utilized all the possibility that was offered to you, that your life would be straight and clean and engaging and acceptable and positive. And that's worth finding out if that's the case, because it might be true. And so that's the reason to go out in the world and like, make some mistakes, you know? And then you're going to. And so it's okay. It's okay to make the mistakes. It's not so okay not to learn from them, because then you make the mistakes again. That seems pointless. And so you're moving towards wherever you're going, and it's working. And so you get some positive emotion. You get some motivation from this dopaminergic system that adds zest to life. It adds interest and engagement and meaning to life. It pulls you into life. And that's worth thinking about, I would say, because if you think about it, you know, you might wonder about whether or not you should be engaged in life. And then if all of a sudden you're doing something, and because you're doing it, you get engaged in life, then it seems like that might be the very definition of a good thing. It's evidence. The engagement is evidence that you're actually doing a good thing, a worthwhile thing in life with all its suffering and misery and brutality. It's like you've got a pathway, you've got an aim, you're moving forward, you're engaged. Excellent, but do what is meaningful and not what is expedient. It's a deep, deep instinct. And way down in your psychophysiological structure, not as far down as the serotonin system, but like next level up. And so if it's saying, hey man, you're on the right track, it's like, that's worth noticing. It's worth noticing. Now you can criticize it out of existence. You can question your aim continually. It's one of the, what would you call it, dangers of our capacity to abstract. But, you know, if you're a smart person who doubts, you also might be smart enough now and then to doubt your doubt.
and just to notice and to pay attention. And not only that's what you need to do, because you need to have a meaning in your life.